on the ChatGPT site, it says the dialogue format makes it possible for ChatGPT to answer follow-up questions, admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises, and reject inappropriate requests. But also, there's a feeling like it's struggling with ideas.
Yeah. It's always tempting to anthropomorphize this stuff too much,
Right,
but I
sure.
also feel that way.
Maybe I'll take a small tangent towards Jordan Peterson, who posted on Twitter this kind of political question. Everyone has a different question they want to ask ChatGPT first, right? Like the different directions you want to try the dark thing.
It somehow
first.
says a lot about people what they
The
try
first
first.
thing. The first thing. Oh no. Oh no.
We don't
have to reveal what I asked
do
first.
not.
I of course ask mathematical questions. I've never asked anything dark. But Jordan asked it to say positive things about the current president Joe Biden and the previous president Donald Trump, and then he asked GPT as a follow-up to say how many characters, how long is the string that you generated, and he showed that the response that contained positive things about Biden was much longer than that about Trump. And Jordan asked the system can you rewrite it with an equal length string, which all of this is just remarkable to me that it understood, but it failed to do it. And it was interesting, the ChatGPT, I think that was 3.5 based, was kind of introspective about, it seems like I failed to do the job correctly. And Jordan framed it as ChatGPT was lying and aware that it's lying. But that framing, that's a human anthropomorphization, I think. But that kind of, there seemed to be a struggle within GPT to understand how to do, like what it means to generate a text of the same length in an answer to a question, and also in a sequence of prompts, how to understand that it failed to do so previously and where it succeeded, and all of those parallel reasonings that it's doing. It just seems like it's struggling.
So two separate things going on here. Number one, some of the things that seem like they should be obvious and easy, these models really struggle with.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this particular example, but counting characters, counting words, that sort of stuff, that is hard for these models to do well the way they're architected. That won't be very accurate. Second, we are building in public and we are putting out technology because we think it is important for the world to get access to this early, to shape the way it's going to be developed, to help us find the good things and the bad things. And every time we put out a new model, and we've just really felt this with GPT-4 this week, the collective intelligence and ability of the outside world helps us discover things we cannot imagine, we could have never done internally. And both like great things that the model can do, new capabilities, and real weaknesses we have to fix. And so this iterative process of putting things out, finding the great parts, the bad parts, improving them quickly, and giving people time to feel the technology and shape it with us and provide feedback, we believe is really important. The trade-off of that is the trade-off of building in public, which is we put out things that are going to be deeply imperfect. We want to make our mistakes while the stakes are low. We want to get it better and better each rep. But the bias of ChatGPT when it launched with 3.5 was not something that I certainly felt proud of. It's gotten much better with GPT-4. Many of the critics, and I really respect this, have said, hey, a lot of the problems that I had with 3.5 are much better in 4. But also, no two people are ever going to agree that one single model is unbiased on every topic. And I think the answer there is just going to be to give users more personalized control, granular control over time.
And I should say on this point, I've gotten to know Jordan Peterson, and I tried to talk to GPT-4 about Jordan Peterson, and I asked it if Jordan Peterson is a fascist. First of all, it gave context. It described actual description of who Jordan Peterson is, his career, psychologist, and so on. It stated that some number of people have called Jordan Peterson a fascist, but there is no factual grounding to those claims. And it described a bunch of stuff that Jordan believes. Like he's been an outspoken critic of various totalitarian um, ideologies, and he believes in uh, individualism and various freedoms that contradict the ideology of fascism and so on. And it goes on and on, like really nicely, and it wraps it up. It's a college essay. I was like, God damn.
One thing that I hope these models can do is bring some nuance back to the world.
Yes, it felt really nuanced.
You know, Twitter kind of destroyed some,
Yes.
and maybe we can get some back now.
That really is exciting to me. Like, for example, I asked, of course, did the COVID virus leak from a lab? Again, answer very nuanced. There's two hypotheses. It like described them. It described the amount of data that's available for each. It was like a breath of fresh air.
When I was a little kid, I thought building AI, we didn't really call it AGI at the time. I thought building AI would be like the coolest thing ever. I never really thought I would get the chance to work on it. But if you had told me that not only I would get the chance to work on it, but that after making like a very, very larval proto AGI thing, that the thing I'd have to spend my time on is, trying to like argue with people about whether the number of characters it said nice things about one person was different than the number of characters that said nice about some other person. If you hand people an AGI and that's what they want to do, I wouldn't have believed you. But I understand it more now. And I do have empathy for it.
So what you're implying in that statement is we took such giant leaps on the big stuff and we're complaining or arguing about small stuff.
Well, the small stuff is the big stuff in aggregate. So I get it. It's just like I also like, I get why this is such an important issue. This is a really important issue. But that somehow this is the thing that we get caught up in versus like, what is this going to mean for our future? Now, maybe you say, this is critical to what this is going to mean for our future. The thing that it says more characters about this person than this person and who's deciding that and how it's being decided and how the users get control over that. Maybe that is the most important issue, but I wouldn't have guessed it at the time when I was like an 8-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, there is, there's folks at OpenAI, including yourself, that do see the importance of these issues to discuss about them under the big banner of AI safety. That's something that's not often talked about with the release of GPT-4, how much went into the safety concerns, how long also you spent on the safety concern. Can you go through some of that process?
Yeah, sure.
What went into AI safety considerations of GPT-4 release?
So we finished last summer. We immediately started giving it to people to red team. We started doing a bunch of our own internal safety evals on it. We started trying to work on different ways to align it. And that combination of an internal and external effort, plus building a whole bunch of new ways to align the model. And we didn't get it perfect by far, but one thing that I care about is that our degree of alignment increases faster than our rate of capability progress. And that I think will become more and more important over time. And I think we made reasonable progress there to a more aligned system than we've ever had before. I think this is the most capable and most aligned model that we've put out. We were able to do a lot of testing on it, and that takes a while. And I totally get why people were like, give us GPT-4 right away. But I'm happy we did it this way.
Is there some wisdom, some insights about that process that you learned, like how to solve that problem that you can speak to?
How to solve the
alignment problem?
So I want to be very clear. I do not think we have yet discovered a way to align a super powerful system. We have something that works for our current scale called RLHF. And we can talk a lot about the benefits of that and the utility it provides. It's not just an alignment. Maybe it's not even mostly an alignment capability. It helps make a better system, a more usable system. Yeah. And this is actually something that I don't think people outside the field understand enough. It's easy to talk about alignment and capability as orthogonal vectors. Mm-hmm. They're very close. Better alignment techniques lead to better capabilities and vice versa. There's cases that are different, and they're important cases. But on the whole, I think things that you could say like RLHF or interpretability that sound like alignment issues also help you make much more capable models. And the division is just much fuzzier than people think. And so in some sense, the work we do to make GPT-4 safer and more aligned looks very similar to all the other work we do of solving the research and engineering problems associated with creating useful and powerful models.
So RLHF is the process that can be applied very broadly across the entire system, where a human basically votes what's the better way to say something. What's, if a person asks, "Do I look fat in this dress?" There's different ways to answer that question that's aligned with human civilization.
And there's no one set of human values, or there's no one set of right answers to human civilization. So I think what's going to have to happen is we will need to agree on, as a society, on very broad bounds. We'll only be able to agree on a very broad bounds of what these systems can do. And then within those, maybe different countries have different RLHF tunes. Certainly individual users have very different preferences. We launched this thing with GPT-4 called the system message, which is not RLHF, but is a way to let users have a good degree of steerability over what they want. And I think things like that will be important.
Can you describe system message and in general how you were able to make GPT-4 more steerable based on the interaction that the user can have with it, which is one of its big, really powerful things?
So the system message is a way to say, hey, model, please pretend like you, or please only answer this message as if you were Shakespeare doing thing X, or please only respond with JSON no matter what, was one of the examples from our blog post. But you could also say any number of other things to that. And then we tune GPT-4 in a way to really treat the system message with a lot of authority. I'm sure there'll always, not always hopefully, but for a long time, there'll be more jailbreaks, and we'll keep sort of learning about those. But we develop, whatever you want to call it, the model in such a way to learn that it's supposed to really use that system message.